Have you ever been arrested?
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, let's hear this.
I'll
let you lead.
No.
Be a man.
No.
Bespoke Minds Podcast, a place where we actively discuss mental health, self-care and healing, share stories to enhance our insight in an interactive way.
Hello and welcome to Bespoke Mind Podcast. I'm your host, Cornelia CK, and in today's episode, we're going to have an open discussion about bullying. But before we get started, let's introduce our guests. Not a stranger here, and they've been here before, so...
I'm back again. Name's Carl. If you didn't tune in before, I work with young kids as a practitioner. I'm a studying psychologist and a whole bunch of other things on the resume.
My name's Elijah, back like I never left, and we continue.
Trish Belusa, I'm a mother. I am someone who's got a background in mental health, CBT, social issues. I'm a big feminist. And I'm just very passionate about social issues. So I'm going to use my skills, experience, and my knowledge to assess and explore these issues.
Yep, I'm Roslyn. If you want to know more about me, add me on Rose New Woman.
We're going to move on to our next segment, which is called Break the Ice, as you all know. So I'm going to say two opposites, and then you state your preference, and then you say why. So, do you prefer McDonald's or KFC?
I don't really either. I haven't ate either for a long time now, to be fair. So I can't really answer.
You can't answer. Okay, so what did you eat back in the days then?
Back in the days, I think I had more McDonald's than KFC, maybe. Yeah, so I guess if I had to choose... Actually, funny thing is, I think that's what put me off McDonald's and KFC. You remember when you used to get the little coupons that come through your door?
Oh, yeah.
And it was like buy one, get one free.
Mm-hmm.
And then one week, McDonald's had like buy one, get one free. And then if you use the coupon as well, you get like 4 of the same meal.
Yeah.
So I fast up myself with one of my brethren and we had a competition. We ate like 24 Big Macs.
Oh, wow.
2 of us. I've never been so sick in my life. So that's probably why I don't eat McDonald's anymore.
Wow.
So, yeah.
We're talking presently, yeah?
Present, past, up to you.
I don't eat any of them right now, but back in the past...
you don't look so good.
Nah, there was one time where one of the guys gave me like 24 wings because they were closing up for KFC. And boy, down the toilet. Them horror stories. Them horror stories.
I thought you meant wings from McDonald's. I thought that sounded like a horror story. Wings from
KFC, and the way that it just goes through. If you have too much of those, boy, it's hot.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So there's that. Or my next question statement would be: can you, when it comes to eating McDonald's or smelling McDonald's, you can't smell if it's a burger of. Or if it's thingy, you just know it's McDonald's. Oh yeah, you're eating McDonald's.
That sweet, weird, oily kind of
smell. Yeah, you just smell
McDonald's.
You don't smell individual food.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's just plastic.
Personally prefer McDonald's and KFC in other countries.
Yeah.
KFC in France and in Morocco is mwah. McDonald's as well in other not in the UK but other European countries.
Yeah, when I used to go to Jamaica, KFC, because they used to like the chicken was seasoned.
Yeah.
And they used to give you like this powder as well, which was like the sauce, but just in like seasoning form. So you could just eat it without getting messy and whatever. They used to do it in the cinema as well. I don't know if they still do that in Jamaica. Popcorn chicken instead of normal chicken. They need to make that thing everywhere. Yeah, that's good coffee. Investment
we
ideas.
Go to Jamaica.
Actually, do you know, just as you said that, sorry, this is random, but there was an episode of Real Housewives. I don't know if you watched it or not.
Yeah.
And Candy, I think they went to Jamaica and Candy wasn't speaking to somebody or somebody wasn't speaking to Candy. And she had some literally KFC from Jamaica.
Yeah.
And they started talking.
Yeah.
Just
you soon start speaking.
So listen.
I need to taste that.
It brought their friendship back together.
Yeah.
I was definitely leaning towards KFC, especially in this political climate and McDonald's involvement in political issues where one group of people are oppressed and whatnot, and the boycott towards McDonald's amongst other organizations or companies that benefit from the struggle of others. I would definitely say McDonald's is a no-go for now. Haven't eaten McDonald's for a while. But even before this, I think generally if you put the two side by side, I would always go for KFC. I find KFC more filling, like more like real food, as you would say, like me having like chicken piece, wings, coleslaw, chips I'm done for the night. You know,
done.
I can't say the same for
The other one.
Prefer to cook or clean?
Cook.
Clean. I think.
Clean. But
I think it's a man
ooh.
thing.
That's quite interesting,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's a man thing.
There's something satisfying about like a messy space, not too messy, but like a messy space, and then just getting in that mode, flinging on your tunes, and then just
It's a man thing.
wiping up, and when you're done, everything's just.
Do you think it's a man thing?
Yeah, it's a man thing.
Man.
You know what? I've got another theory.
What's
Our
your
parents
theory?
used to tell us to clean up. So the things that we didn't like when we were growing up, like cleaning up, now we get to do it for our own space.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I have definitely noticed that men are better cleaners.
Yeah, they are.
But however, I think socially women are expected to be the cleaners. But
Yeah.
but men go in just the same way as
Oh,
ironing. Men take ironing
Oh.
so seriously.
Yeah.
Is that's how they are with ironing and cleaning them. Like, you guys are so good at it. Like
But the thing is,
embarrassed to tell people that my man's the cleaner and I can't say that, but he does the
Yeah.
cleaner.
So he takes the lead.
but people could
Yeah.
say to me that I'm a better cook.
Yeah,
Oh no, men can cook.
I do like
Okay.
to cook.
When they know how
When
to
they know how
cook,
to cook,
Yeah,
they can cook.
yeah, it's like professional.
Yeah.
I'll definitely prefer
Even
cleaning
with
that
hair,
too, though.
even with
I mean,
hair and makeup
cooking.
now, when men do hair and
Yeah.
the men that do hair and makeup, they really go
I do,
in.
yeah. Do locks. I don't do all here, only locks, but only
Yeah.
my locks. To be fair,
Okay, so you can clearly see like the traditional gender roles are being changed.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never fell into that. I think as a grown person, these are just life skills.
Mm.
I think assigning a gender to it is a bit stupid.
100%, I agree as well. But is it in the same in your household? Would you say?
I grew up with a single mum who kind of did. My mum was mad OCD, so she cleaned. She would bleach the bushes.
From the island, I find that a lot of island men are kind of taught to do both, like everything. Like,
Yeah.
You guys are you almost taught it as a life skill, as you say.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the gender role thing, I may be wrong, but I really think I'm not, is that it's really more harsher in the African
In the
community.
African
Yeah,
It's more enforced in the
Yeah,
African community.
Yeah.
So even when there are like African men who can cook really well and clean really well, they may do it because it's a life skill that they need. But once they partner up, you see their expectation clearly does change.
Yeah.
Even if they can do it better, there's still that unspoken expectation of it's more of
They go back into
Because they know
gender
they can get
roles.
away with
my
it.
wife's thing.
They've got
Like, let's say, for example, the way Rosalind said my men's are clean, and then it's kind of like it's almost she kind of took a bag because she kind of saw it's not really a thing you associate.
I used to feel bad. To
Yeah.
say it.
Do you know what I mean? Because
it's the stigma, I guess, in
it's
the African
yeah.
community or
Yeah.
Congolese
Could-
community
Mhm.
or Ghanaian
They'll
community.
because of there's certain expectations,
They'll
and we
think
know
you're unclean
Yeah.
because
Definitely.
Yeah.
doing that.
like why are you letting your husband do that?
So,
Why are you letting your
yeah.
husband clean? Do you know what I
He
mean?
enjoys it.
Whereas in
That's
these
it.
Caribbean women, please, they sit back and they watch.
They're
Yeah.
enjoying.
You can't clean.
They're
Sit here and look
enjoying.
good.
Almost what you said about cleaning, how cleaning makes you feel. It's kind of like how cooking makes me feel. To kind of take things that are kind of bland or like just individually, and then put them together and create something so beautiful in your mouth.
Yeah.
That's
I
how I
like
feel
to
about
cook when it's
cooking.
big cooking. Like if we're throwing a party or barbecue, that's when I want to cook because it's like beach cooking. But on a daily basis,
I hear you because I enjoy cooking more then
Yeah.
because it's a social activity to some
Yeah.
extent.
Yeah.
But then every day you're like, I can't cook again today.
Yeah.
Okay, heaven or hell?
Hey.
Hey.
I mean, I like to try. I like to try them first to see what's
You
like.
like to try it.
Where are you heading towards? Where do you think you're stirring towards?
What do you think? I'm not gonna lie, guys. I think a lot of us are delusional. Think we're going to heaven. We're all going to hell. In fact, we're all in hell right now. That's my theory.
Oh,
Yeah, I think this is
We are literally, and I think that's the concept of. Okay, this is my theory. To some extent, I think that's a concept of going to hell is having to reincarnate and do life until you learn.
Oh, is that your concept? That's funny because one, I don't really believe in heaven and hell. The stereotypical one's burning in flame, and the other one is 59 virgins, depending on your religion or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't believe in those kind of mythological, solid concepts of heaven and hell. But I do believe in reincarnation. So I don't believe that this is my first life, and it probably won't be my last. So I do believe that I'm on a path to absolution, and then that's essentially what.
I think what you get reincarnated or go back to in that afterlife determines the heaven and hell. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but have you guys heard about children talking about their reincarnated lives? I don't know if you've seen the program, like the ghost inside my child.
Okay.
Children don't lie about stuff like that.
Yeah.
And some children, when they're talking about where they were, they're not describing the heaven that we know. Some are, but some are describing another form of universe, like where they're not even human, but it's peaceful and it's light. And I feel like that's my concept of heaven and hell is this is hell.
Yeah.
I know. But when we come back, whatever we do determines where we go to next. And so sometimes even when you do look at the reincarnated stories, a lot of the children who have reincarnated are kind of traumatized. Like they'll talk about as trauma. It's even looked at as sometimes birthmarks are like scars of how they died and whatnot. So there's a lot of connection that's kind of like, it's quite interesting to look into.
Okay,
But
that's something
But
I definitely
in that concept, then don't you feel that if you believe that this is hell and that if you're reincarnated, then you're going essentially back to hell, then do you believe that you lived the past life and you did something wrong in that life as to why you're here now?
I believe that there's a lesson that we have to learn from each life we have. And if you don't learn it, you come back until you learn it in another way.
Yeah.
And this is where I think deja vu comes in. Like something happens, you're like, I've been here before. I think it's an opportunity to try and make a different choice
Yeah.
to see how that goes. But obviously, I don't have every answer in my theory. I'm still working it out. The more I'm learning, the more I'm like, okay, but that's precisely how I see it. I feel like if we're back here, it's because there's something that we needed to learn that we're not learning.
Okay,
yet.
so we essentially have the same concept. It's just your mentality around it is a bit different from mine. But yeah, interested.
It's very interesting. Do you prefer to laugh or cry?
On what?
In general,
Is it
some
both
people are
happy-
criers, some people laugh. Which emotion do you express the most?
Well, yeah, I laugh.
Even when I'm happy, I
basically
cry.
everything I
I laugh a lot.
say. Yeah.
But I do cry a lot as well.
Which
these
one do you
days.
find therapeutic?
Laughing.
Laugh.
I laugh at the stupidest things and laugh when the situation doesn't beg for it.
Yeah, I'm very
Yeah.
good.
So I look at things in a totally skewed way, whereas some people just don't.
Are you afraid to show your emotions?
I used to be,
Mm,
but not so much now.
mm.
I think there's a bigger relief after I cry.
Yeah, same here.
There is that was heavy. But I enjoy being in laughter. You know, the kind of laughter where you can't even speak. Like you're trying to like explain, or before you even explain, you just die in laughter again. I do enjoy laughter more, but I find crying more therapeutic.
Yeah, I'm a bit of both as well. Like I like laughter. Laughter's important. I find it therapeutic. But I cry as well. And yeah, if I need to cry, I think it's healthy.
But sometimes
it's a relief.
tears of joy.
Yeah.
I do a lot of tears of joy these days.
I do tears of joy as well.
Yeah.
In fact, I think people should schedule crying as well, to be honest. Make time for it. Yeah. So it's
So you need it.
I think more men should practice crying. Yeah,
I find it
is
very, very hard to
That's the
cry.
thing.
Same.
Even
It
in
has to be
situations-
automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Men-
you guys do it automatically. As for us, it's like
I couldn't
They-
schedule
there's
in
t-
a
we
cry.
couldn't
How would you schedule in a cry?
Okay, scheduling a cry is not necessarily to force yourself to cry,
Yeah.
but to kind of take in what's bothering you. And sometimes it ends up going into cry because
Yeah.
that's how overwhelming it feels. It may even be like, it's more like scheduling a worry time, like therapy wise. Okay, I'm going to schedule time where I can worry about things.
I do that.
Yeah.
You know what? It's sometimes I actually play certain songs.
To put you in that
Sometimes-
emotion.
Up that emotion.
Yeah. It's like sometimes I don't know what's going on with me and I just feel like something needs to come out and I will actually play a song to let it come out.
So do you do that so it's done not upon reflection, so on the moment, or is it a reflective thing?
Yeah, it's a reflective thing. It's like sometimes, especially like with me, like when I'm doing my prayers and stuff like that, and I just have so much joy in me, I just don't know how to, and I'll just put a gospel song on and I'll just start crying and just worshipping.
So would that be scheduled?
It is.
So I'm trying to understand.
I mean, even though she may not intentionally schedule it, she may have done it without knowing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you've dedicated
exactly.
time
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
become like a habit.
It's for me, like the other day, I woke up feeling so teary. Like there was a lot of things in my mind, but I was like, you know what? I've got group therapy later. I'm gonna let it out there. That for me, in a way, that's scheduling crying because I feel like this already. Sometimes you feel overwhelmed, but you know you can't show it in certain places.
don't know how-
But I think there's time to schedule it. Like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm in public. I can't burst into tears right now.
Yeah.
But when I get home,
So is this just for relief or is it for resolution?
That's a good.
I mean, it could be a bit of both because I think relief can be resolution as well.
Yeah.
Because
do you
if we keep that
do you
in-
find when you schedule in the cry
Yeah.
and then you cry,
Yeah.
does that sometimes resolve? Is the situation itself that I needed to cry, or is there something behind it
I think it's more the physicality, the body. You feel like you've released, kind of like how they say it's like walking is good for mental health.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away the issue. The issue's still there.
Yeah.
But how you feel is definitely different.
Yeah.
Therefore, it gives you a better sense of way to find a resolution for
gives
it.
you clarity.
Yeah, release yourself of the stress in your body, so the anxiety isn't necessarily stuck there, but the issue isn't gone.
There's something I just literally just found out now. I think what it is, I think motherhood as well, it's sometimes raining and it's just so much to take on, and sometimes like on a weekly basis, and it's just a one cry.
Yeah.
That actually falls into self-care, you know, dedicating that time for yourself.
Yeah,
as
but
well.
sometimes you can't cry in front of them, so you just bottling it all up.
Yeah. But what's I'm sorry, it's the psychologist.
No, it's good that you
No, this is amazing.
No, I'm trying to understand what the because I can understand the pent up emotions and you need them released from those pent up emotions, but those emotions must originate from somewhere.
Absolutely.
So is it just everyday things that build up, or is it a deeper layer of something that's repressed?
It could be both.
It can be both.
Yeah, because sometimes even like you said in motherhood, it may be something little, but or you may think it's something little. Sometimes you think it's something little. Like, I'm not gonna lie, there's times when my son's cried, I've joined him. And I'm thinking, oh, it's because I'm annoyed, because I'm overwhelmed, or because I'm overwhelmed because I'm a mum. But then maybe when I start crying, then I start thinking, oh my gosh, it's more than that. It's how my life is how this has changed. It's how the things that I didn't even realize, because now I'm in that moment where I think crying also is also confession to yourself.
Yes.
And when you're able to confess things to yourself, you're able to realize how big it is, what you are making small.
So it allows you to reach that moment of clarity.
Yeah.
So are you thinking about it from a trauma place or not so much?
Not so much trauma, but I'm just trying to understand whether it's a build up of everyday little things. If it's a slow drip or if it's an ocean that you're constantly trying to keep your head above.
I think with them, it's the constant, but also it can happen at any different time. So when she's saying that we need to schedule in a cry, as in men, it's also, she's basically saying that we need to have time where we check into ourselves, and find out where we need, where our emotions lie. Because we wake up in the morning and we're like this.
Go. Yeah.
So when they have that release and they have that clarity, they only see us when we either completely break down, or lose our rag. And we haven't handled it in the best way.
But it's like, because men like the metaphor that I used about the ocean and the slow drip. A lot of men, the slow drip we don't even think about it.
Because
that's been dripping for so long. We're now in this ocean, and it's only when you're physically drowning that it comes to the point where you see most men get to a stage where they can allow themselves to be that vulnerable. And even then, they don't do it in as a constructive or as
healthy,
a positive way that like you're describing. So that's why I questioned it, because I found it interesting that something that a man would stereotypically think was weakness, or that was something that wasn't necessarily positive, you've managed to put it in a light that gives you clarity and gives you something positive to feed off of it. So much so that you're making a space for it in your schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's such a shame that I think men are conditioned to not cry a lot.
Yeah.
Because I think obviously when we all start as babies, you see the baby boys cry as much as the baby girl. Sometimes baby boys are known to be more emotional, actually.
They are.
But I think that then there's that kind of sense of conditioning.
Still, like I can't lie. Like in my house now, like I can see how much I kind of pamper my daughter. Then
so it goes to the gender role.
So it's like when he's emotional, we're just like, no, you're a boy, come on.
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say? But when it's my daughter, we're just like, oh, come on then, it's okay.
And that teaches him something.
But that's why he goes down to the dripping.
Yeah.
That dripping has now happened from when we were younger.
Yeah.
And keep continuing. And it's like, oh yeah, he's a boy now.
Yeah.
And it continues and it continues. So when you interact with us in teenage and adulthood, you're like, you should be able to do this. And we're like, yo, we have no reference point. Completely nothing. Because also our fathers were dripping from when They were
This is
younger.
it.
Yeah.
So now you're telling us to do something that is absolutely
When we-
foreign
And
to
it
us.
it becomes a generational thing as well, and that's why it's so important to have outlets and spaces like this where men, because as you can see, us women, we have lots of resources and outlets where we can, schedule a day and do this. And from what we can hear from Carl and Elijah, this is the first time they're hearing of this.
Yeah.
So
our
we need to
emotions
create
are
that
catered
space for
to by
men.
society.
Yeah.
As if
Yeah.
your emotions make society feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It
And
does,
that's why,
though.
that's what I was going to say.
But
You
also-
guys are treated that way to the point that when we ask you to cry, you're looking at us like we're mad.
But sometimes it's also dependent on the female that's on the other side. They
The
may
woman.
not, the woman may not create that healthy
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
Because they have not seen the man cry.
Yeah.
They may ask for it, but they've never seen it. So they don't
Yeah.
know how to handle it. So now we cry or get emotional, and then you look at us as if we're talking some alien language. So now we're thinking, oh, I took a step out. Now I'm taking a step back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
Batten
completely
down the hand.
understand.
Batten down the hatches. We're not doing this ever again.
Because there's
They
some
take
women
stuff
as
to
well.
heart.
Double
Oh yeah. We doubled
Men,
down.
don't say nothing negative to a man. He will take it to his grave.
But that's about emotional maturity as
Yeah.
well. Ego.
Yeah.
Because men's egos
I
are
was going to say that's what again. For me, I'm just going to go back to social conditioning. Men are very much socially conditioned to put their egos above a lot of things.
Yeah.
Even when it doesn't matter. And I think I've had conversations with parents where I'm telling the mum, no, you need to do this, what's best for your child. Yeah, but you see, this is my husband's decision. But you know that what you're saying is what's best for your child. But my husband wouldn't like it. I'm like, okay, child's welfare, husband's ego.
Yeah.
And that's society. As society, we're taught to think that way. So men they put a useless importance on their ego because they're kind of taught to protect it at all costs. And it's so important. But it's just, it's almost like a theory. Ego, is it even a real thing, or is it we kind of made up this thing?
Yeah, and that's something that definitely needs to be challenged and reinforced as well.
Psychology, the kind of psychology that I do is based around the ego. So I could speak about it till the cows come home. But men in particular, there's so much nuances because a lot of the time they base their whole existence around their ego. Whereas in women, there's not so much of a demand for that in society. There's not so much of an individuality towards
But women are
it or any
changing
of that.
though. At the same time, women are.
But then
wanting to be
sometimes
men
as
now.
well, there's that aspect of that's all they got is their ego and their pride.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
Because if you look at like their backgrounds and their upbringing and their story, they don't have an outlet. It's they're holding on to that power. That's the power that they have.
And man's masculinity then compared to his ability to do things that the male ego is dominant. Like men don't cry,
100%.
and men should be the leader of their household. Even things like cooking and cleaning. I've had certain men come to me and say, "What, you cooking, you cleaning here?" And I'm thinking, what's that got to do with me being a man?
This is it.
I'm an adult.
I think it's two different extremes. I think, as you mentioned, with women, we're not really so ego based. Don't get me wrong, there are women who are like, this is my ego. Personally, I think ego it causes a lot of immature emotional processing. Because if someone refers back to ego, you realize that they're actually fighting for nothing rather than an image. It's not a real thing. Whereas I think women are almost kind of taught to almost not fight for anything, just give into it.
Yeah.
This is where the submission comes in. Give into power.
It depends. I think it depends on personality as well.
It does. All that.
Yeah, not everyone is.
It's like the same thing. Not every man is ego driven, but however, socially, that's what really is encouraged. You get to get older and challenge it. Like, for example, I'm not submissive, but they tried to make me submissive for sure, because it's like, why can't you be like every other woman? That was the social expectations. However, there's the individualism that comes in of like, no, you don't get to teach me that, or I can't do that, even if I wanted to. It's not in my character. But however, I think the main social expectation is kind of like one glove fits all. A man's supposed to be like this, a woman's supposed to be like this. And it's very opposing. And then we wonder why we don't understand.
And that's what happens, as you said, through childhood. How you said that you look after your daughter in one way and your son in another way. Your son accumulates that, and then that ego takes on many different forms and many different. So then the woman is like, "Oh, you need to be like this," and then he's now filling in his scrapbook of his ego. But it's all just suppressed. Sometimes it could be suppressed trauma from the son, thinking that my needs were not validated here.
Like a lot of these men
That's the
that
base.
get into these relationships with women where they become easily triggered or they're volatile or they're just not able to express themselves, a lot of the time it's because their mum didn't just give them that hug when they fell over.
Yeah.
And instead told them, get up, you're a boy, brush yourself off, you're fine. Kind of thing.
It's the
They're,
nurture.
they're taught that at home.
Change.
But also, you know what? As you said, sometimes you cry in front of the woman and it's the wrong woman, because social conditioning isn't just to one person, it's both children.
Yeah.
Your daughter's also learning that maybe a man shouldn't cry. That if she sees a man cry in front of her, she's thinking,
what's going
What is
on?
this?
so what should I do with this? And that man, he probably at a journey where he's unlearning
Or
and he's
is he a man? Is he a man? Because
yeah.
you're thinking,
do you know
he's
what I mean?
crying. Is he really the man?
That's not what's supposed to happen, because I haven't learned it's supposed to be that way. And then they start to look at you as, oh, he's probably a feminine. Do you know what I mean? It starts to come in, oh, that's a feminine guy.
Yeah.
And it becomes more shaming than actually
Yeah.
receiving it.
And if you
because
think
both
about
people have been conditioned to learn.
So if
the
you think
same
about
way.
it as like kind of to end it, it's like the needs are not being met. So as a child, your needs were not met.
That's
so
it.
then as an adult, you cry in front of a woman, which is kind of like a reflection of your mother. And then they handle it in a totally different way, which is basically looking like or interpreted it as, you're a man, this is what you should do. So he's just gonna batten down the hatches and just go, you know what, I can't do this.
That's the thing. It goes back to the childhood trauma, isn't it? Where it
It
starts
just keeps
from the
going.
childhood, it goes around,
and it goes on
endless
around.
a vicious cycle. So move on to the next segment now. Is moments of truth. Have you ever been arrested?
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, let's hear this. I haven't.
I'll let you lead.
No.
Be a man.
No. Don't choose now.
I'm gonna be submissive.
Don't choose now.
on this
Don't
one
choose now.
occasion. Okay, no, I was arrested for protesting actually.
Okay.
Yeah, in 2011, we're protesting for the electoral fraud that happened. in
I
Hong
missed
Kong.
that. I think we just separated at that point.
And then I was arrested for that. I spent 24 hours in a cell. My mother did laugh at me when I called, and so did my manager, because I had to get my mum to call my manager to explain to him. Because the last thing he said to me was, "Don't get arrested." I said, "Oh, don't be silly." And then my mum was calling to be like, "She's in a cell." So yeah, that was pretty much it.
Rose?
I was in the wrong house.
Sorry. Sorry. I was in the wrong house.
We need to hear this. Hear this.
Sorry, random story.
So my one of my friends lost her mother, so I just went there to consolate. Just being, nice person, sleeping, and then boom, I just hear police at the door, boom, 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 and then she was like, "Rose, take this machine and take it outside."
Oh wow.
Yeah. And someone just lost them. I'm just going to listen. I just woke up.
How old was you at this point?
I was like maybe
you being exploited?
20.
I wanna know what-
Oh, okay. Oof.
Yeah. Go.
Take this machine and take it outside for me so I can go and open the door. Went to take it outside. Police jumped over the garden and they saw me with this machine in the hands. It was literally like the bill.
Were they still there or did they leave at that point?
No, I've gone to the garden.
She go to the police.
You've gone to the front line. What about the people behind?
No, they're in the house. There's
Oh,
so there's
okay.
police that's coming to the house and there's police in the garden waiting for whoever's going to try and run away. Yeah.
Wow.
So what was the box?
It was a machine that makes fake cards, like bank cards and
ID fraud.
Oh, goodness.
yes.
Have you still got the machine?
Yeah, that's definitely not
Might need
needed.
to borrow that.
What's your experience, Carl?
That was crazy.
You know what? I've never actually been arrested. I've been in many situations where I could have been arrested, and I've been to court loads of times for loads of different things, but I've never actually been physically, you're under arrest, get in the back of the car, arrested. So I'm a lucky man, I suppose.
So with me as well, I spent a lot of time in prisons, from being an appropriate adult, from being an advocate, from doing lots of things as well, and also with the work that I do, liaising, working with police officers as well. So it's a bit of that aspect of things, but I've never been in a cell.
Yeah, no. You're not going to catch me. If I did it, then I'm getting away.
Always a way out.
It wasn't me.
My one was drinking and driving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh.
it was serious.
Did you have a band as well?
No.
Did you have
They
to
just
do a
let
course
him
or?
keep.
No, I had to do a course. That was it.
Okay.
I did a course and that was it.
Have you learnt from it?
Have I learned from?
The fact that he repeated the question.
Have I learned from it?
Let me process
Has anyone here learned from
Has
it?
anybody here? Have you ever been followed?
Ooh.
I have, like,
one?
followed by a person.
I had a stalker.
Like-
I thought I was
Both of
Jamaican.
you know my stalker.
Listen, yeah, we know your
Yeah.
stalker. I had a stalker. I think I was in year 8, and this man used to rate on the bike. So when I used to walk to school with a friend, that was okay. But this guy would be there with his bike, and again, he used to speak quite patois, whatever.
Age?
He used to be like from my house,
Was
a
it an
good
age?
20-minute. Huh?
Age difference.
No, he's a big man.
Oh, a big.
I was like, how old are you when you're in year 8?
13,
you're
14.
So I had to
13,
change
14.
my way to school and everything. So,
I'm
you
gonna
know,
say 12,
near
13.
Hackney City Farm, he'll be going there on the cyclist lane and everything. So it was really intense. And then luckily, because my secondary school had 2 exits, so I had to take the long way round. It was a nightmare. But at the time, I didn't realize I was being stalked and followed. And then he was just making inappropriate comments saying, "Want to suck my pussy?" and whatnot. But
Mama.
Well,
and
damn.
as a
what
child, like,
as
what
a
do you do with
child?
that? I was just like, you know, so
Money half Jamaican.
I denounce.
yeah.
Wait,
so
and he was a big man.
a
you said.
big, but he
No,
was a
but they-
paedophile.
I can't lie,
Oh.
He was
Jamaicans
like
are
over
Jamaican
30.
men
He
that
was
like
over
children.
30. He was over 30. It was disgusting.
Mhm.
And I think I tried to tell my mum or whatever, but it was a thing where I don't think she'd like
Took it
really
serious.
yeah. So then I just had to take the long
Don't
way
you
around
find
to
back in the day,
school.
this might be controversial, yeah, but don't you find back in the day, like, old men hitting on young girls?
It was no.
Was
it's
like not
like
even.
normal. It's like it was
Our
like a
parents are
normal
just
thing.
kind of like, oh,
It's
that's
only
just your
that I'm
uncle
older now,
Bob.
so
He
it's
flirts with all the girls,
Yeah.
and you're like, but that's his niece. Like,
This is the
is he
thing.
okay? But I don't,
And it's so
I don't know.
unfortunate as well. That's why you're seeing cases of sexual abuse, especially with family members. It's often just
crazy.
brushed in the carpet because of
Yeah.
that culture and that stigma.
I'm glad that that's kind of, well, in my eyes, it seems like that's not becoming such a social,
Like it's not so
acceptable-
prevalent.
Yeah, like it's not
Yeah.
so. That kind of thing is clearly a
It's
lot.
been called
Yeah.
out now.
It's been called out.
Yeah.
Having said that as well, there's still a lot of individuals who the shame,
Yeah,
and there's
Still
lots of
bothers them,
cultures
yeah.
as well. Yeah, so it's from my experience, when I was working in the mental health assessment team as well, there's still that shame, and individuals are not able to say that, you know,
to bring it
I was
forward.
raped by, you know, my brother, or sexually abused by my dad. They find it so heavy, and the trauma is still there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and they find ways to blame themselves.
yeah, they do. And a lot of the time, what's really unfortunate as well, we'll go into that in another episode, is that they're often like stigmatized from their family as well. They're ostracized and they're just left to it, and they're often blamed for it, although they're children.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of the work we end up doing as well is, you know, just telling them, giving them the validation and saying, you are a child, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
So it's so deep. It's so deep.
I've never been followed like that. Not that I've paid attention. Like maybe I missed it because it's hard. I think as a woman, it's hard to say I've never been followed because it's like,
You're still
Yeah.
got bored.
yeah,
Paying me
like she's probably not
attention.
clocking it. But what I do say is, since I became more aware, especially as a woman, a black woman who's tiny, walking in the dark, going home, like especially our raving days, I just developed tactics. If I see someone, if I take a corner, 2 corners, the person's taking 2 corners as well, I start pretending I'm on the phone and I start describing them. That usually works for me. I'll just be like, yeah, you know what? There's this tall guy that's actually following me, and I'm looking you deep in your eye. Like I can see him. Yeah, he looks like this. Even when I'm not on the phone, I learned that from a documentary that it scares them away if they intend to do something and think, oh, I've been
Definitely
described.
gonna get caught.
That's long. If my phone's died, that's what
It
I'll do.
really always makes me sad that women have to go around with like situations like that, or that kind of mentality in those crazy situations. It really does make me think to myself, like, wow, as men, we should be doing a lot better to kind of make women feel as comfortable as possible and feel protected when we're around, not like a threat.
I do see some changes that I had to say. I think, again, maybe because of social awareness, but I have noticed if I'm walking in the dark and there's a guy maybe behind me or coming across me, I see that they see that I'm already alerted.
move.
So they'll either like move or say, I'm just going to walk past you. So I'm like, okay, you get what I'm feeling. So you're letting me know that I've noticed that a lot more. Just be like, I'm just going to walk past you. You know, I'm just going to, it's okay if I see that effort coming up more.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on to care to share. Did you know that bullying can have an impact on your mental health? And if you're bullied as a child, you are twice more likely to use mental health services as an adult.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Is that news for anybody?
I mean, it's news statistically, but it's not surprising or shocking.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, I would have assumed that, there's a connection, but I wouldn't have known it's factual.
So there's lots of research there. Have you ever experienced bullying at all?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone, well, I
No,
won't say
I have.
everyone, but I think everyone in some way, shape or form comes into some form of bullying in their life. Some people it's more detrimental than others.
Mhm.
Some of it comes up in later life and you're not even aware of it. So yeah, like I mentioned before, kind of like just being a certain type of person in a certain city can make you a target sometimes. As a young black man,
Mhm.
there was a lot of times where random people, especially with dreadlocks, random people would just like cycle past me and say, "Hey, Bob Marley!" You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily bullying,
Yeah.
but it's like it's something that you just have to become numb to in some ways, yeah. And that's just like one tiny example of things that you have to, as a black man, I'm sure as a black woman as well, that you just have to kind of become numb to or normalize in your brain so that it doesn't become something that kind of niggles on your soul.
Some of the racial profiling.
Yeah, even in the workplace, and yeah, we're all aware of it.
Exactly. Like even now, some professions, people can't wear braids or even locks as well. Now that we're speaking about that too.
And microaggressions on reality TVs and stuff like that.
Yep.
Microaggression in workspaces. I think there's a type of bullying where it's very intense and you know it's bullying, especially in school.
Yeah.
I think children participate in that a lot because of what they see at home. But then there's a grown-up bullying that we do, which is through like
I think the
microaggression.
silent, subtle, British bullying.
Yes.
Oh,
sometimes
that's
the
very,
worst.
very
It's very,
because it makes you question your reality.
It does.
If someone's calling me ugly to my face, I'm not gonna say, "Wait, did they call me ugly?" They said it.
Yeah.
I heard you say it.
It's been called out.
But then if it's very subtle, you're like, is this happening
Yeah.
or is this in my head? That's the
Then
kind
on
of
top
bullying
of it, if you call it out, then
Yeah.
you're made to fulfill a stereotype.
because you're
That's what-
forward,
Yeah.
you're now the aggressor
Yeah.
because you're being
I
aggressive
mean, we see
about
that
this.
on reality TV shows all the time, especially with black women. The moment that a black woman says or does anything, she's
seen.
aggressive,
Yeah.
or she's da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Even though they clearly
The angry
put
black
them in
woman, that's it.
situations to feel isolated.
Mm.
I've never watched like a Love Island or any type of program like that where there's more than 2 dark-skinned women
No.
on the first lineup. There's always one dark-skinned woman, one mixed race or light skin.
A dash.
Yeah, and then the rest is just whitewashed after that. And then, yeah, there you go. And then you know that when they get picked, and I think that that's the most embarrassing thing that I always watch. And I think, why do they keep doing this?
Yeah.
They line them up,
It's really
and
not
then
fair.
the black girl is always one of the last people to get picked.
And they'll
Or
only
she's the
get
pity
picked by
pick.
the black man.
Yeah.
So would you say that that's done in an institutional?
I feel like it's done on such a like, you know, there was that period in lockdown where like people of color were trying to like teach white people about their unconscious biases and things that they do, microaggressions and so on and so forth. And I don't know if it's because we was in lockdown, but it seemed like they were like starting to get it a little bit like, oh, actually, yeah, I didn't realize that I was being like that. Now that I'm conscious of it, I'm going to try and make an effort to not do that. But I feel like it's so subconscious to white media, the way that people of color feel about the way that they're portrayed, that they don't even bear it in mind. It's not even considered.
It's just normalized.
Yeah.
It's normalized, and to a point where when it's normalized, even as Trish said, it's like we then have to question if it was real. Because if we do it with people who don't look like us, they'll be like,
No, it's
no, it's nothing. And so they don't, like, some of them don't even know that they're doing it.
Yeah.
But because there's a group of them, they start all chiming in.
Yeah.
And
I think sometimes when something is being done wrong, if there's a group of people doing it, they've okayed it amongst themselves, and then the person that's being wronged feels like what they're experiencing is normal because a lot of people think it's normal. Therefore, it should be abnormal. So I think for the black people who go on reality TV, when we're there, it feels like maybe this is normal. Is when you often come out and people are like, no, you were right, you should have questioned that. That's when you feel validated. But in terms of the media world, as Carl was saying, I think the media is very white, let's be honest, because if it wasn't, at this point, someone in Love Island the upper team would have said, wait, hold on, this has happened a couple of times.
Mhm.
And as a black person, this is how we should change it.
Mhm.
But because it's so far removed from the reality, they don't even know that it's an issue.
issue.
Because there's issues that white people have that I could never ever relate. So if I see it, it will go over my head. Or I'll be like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, you know? So I think that's when the intense microaggression comes into place, because a lot of the people at the top are not very black, you know?
Trish, sorry. I was about to say, because you've obviously been in a working profession as well as being on TV, do you see the microaggressions either similar or just morphed into like a lot more bigger? Do you get where I'm coming from?
I think because of my experience, I'll say it's bigger to go home and you come back and you have moments of breaks. But I think on TV, depending on how the schedule is, it could feel continual. And then sometimes you are feeling like you are going crazy in a shorter space of time, but it's more intensified. And there's no intervention.
Yeah, I think it's important to add as well, we are all black people here.
Yeah.
So our experiences that we have at the moment is drawing on our experiences.
Yeah.
But having said that, bullying is something that is universal and it happens everywhere.
Absolutely.
Like, for instance, my experience, it happened in school.
Yeah.
So it happens in childhood. So although we've been able to speak about experiences based on race, there are other experiences where, you know, you might experience bullying by one particular group of people, but then it doesn't mean people from the same race or country could be bullies too.
Absolutely.
So,
I was bullied by black boys.
Just want to make that clear as well, and also say that there's a different spectrum. That's it.
But bullying happens everywhere. I think we just kind of got into microaggression and the race.
Because even you're saying you was bullied by black boys, a lot of the time these bullies, they have their own issues, which makes them the bully in the first place. So like we were saying before, with like even the lack of love from a parental figure, or like just the way of being a man, they might be projecting that in a very negative way because they don't have the understanding, which then makes them come across as a bully or say or do things that way.
What advice would you give to somebody who's being bullied? So what would you tell your younger self? And what would you tell someone else who's going through that right now?
I would tell my younger self to actually speak to someone. Anyone at that regard, but anybody who can listen to you, whether that be your parents or your aunties, but also when you're older, to also speak to someone. You're not doing this alone.
I think just to get a good understanding about what that person's intentions are, because a lot of the time the question that you ask yourself is why, when that person is bullying you. Why me? Why are you bullying me? What? And they're trying to find things that you feel insecure about. So once you go through the healing of understanding that they have their own insecurities that they're projecting on you, and then you heal your own insecurities at the same time, it takes away their power. It's almost like that scene in 8 Mile where Eminem completely says all of the stuff that the other rapper was going to say about him. So then by the time it got to the rapper, he had nothing to say because he had already stated these things and it wasn't such a big problem. So find a way to take that power away from that person at the same time as invalidating yourself. It's not an easy thing to do, to be able to validate yourself. But, you know, we're all beautiful people. We've all got our strengths and weaknesses, and once you accept that about yourself, I think it's easier to take that power away from the person and to empower yourself.
You've both said it correctly. Like, literally, speak to someone, find someone that you have you're comfortable around to speak to, and literally just love yourself as you are. You're perfectly made. There's no mistakes.
Again, just like everyone said, report to someone. If it's in a school space, talk to the teachers, head teachers and whatnot. If it's in a workspace, HR, keep escalating the situation. And in regards to like children, I think there's NSCP as well. So reach out to organizations if you're not comfortable speaking to someone who know you. There's always help available, but definitely making sure to report it in some way, because it doesn't stop.
Just to add to that as well, like you can see from our collective experiences, we've all been through bullying too. So there is light at the end of the tunnel, and as you can see, we're all adults and we've been through it. So for the individual, if you are going through this, I know it could be very intensified, especially in terms of, you know, in a school setting, day to day. And, you know, there's a thing of cyberbullying as well. Traditionally, before, you could be going through bullying and, you know, it's happening behind closed doors and the bullying will stop. And you had respite because you knew, okay, you have to go through the battle and the trauma again. But because of social media, it's 24 hours a day, it's accessible and it's all the time. So we just wanted to just give you some courage and to reinforce that, you're not alone. This time shall pass and the help is available. You shouldn't feel ashamed. We've all come from different walks and different experiences and walks of life. Bullying is something that's unfortunate and it happens, in different places, different segments and different workplaces. But just remember that what you're going through, it will give you the resilience to keep going and it will become part of your identity and it will shape you. So we're going to move on to a quiz, which is called Punchline. So it's a quiz about bullying. So
Can we get there?
yes, please. Oh,
Quiz time.
these are like true or false or a mixture of information about bullying. So the first question is true or false? 30% of children have experienced bullying in the past year. What do you think of that statement?
30%.
30%. So past year meaning 2023. And your answers?
True.
Oh, it's actually true.
I thought
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I thought maybe
I
it's
thought it'd be
more.
more.
So it actually is like equivalent to one child in every classroom.
True.
Okay.
When you
I
think
thought it'd be
that,
more.
look at the impact.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The second statement is only poor people experience bullying.
Hmm.
Do you think that's true or false? I'm sure we all know the answer to this. And it's
Yeah.
false. Is there a reason why? Does anyone want to say that?
Because rich people be the biggest bullies, and they like to bully people that are amongst them because that's how they kind of perpetuate that hierarchy between them and other people. So they bully their workers, and the workers aren't necessarily poor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
but it's the whole societal ego.
That's it.
Yeah.
situation again.
especially when money's involved, ego gets bigger.
100%. So everyone can experience bullying regardless of their background, class,
Even rich
gender,
people be getting
religion,
bullied.
and culture.
Yeah.
So question 3, what month is anti-bullying month? We have an anti-bullying month in case you don't know. And we have 12 months in the year, so you can pick one if you don't know.
That is hard.
Extra point if you know the week, but yeah.
Wow, you're pushing it. We're just about trying to figure it out.
I know. I should know this. I went to the school.
I'm like
Right.
I
thinking.
definitely know this. Wait.
3-second countdown.
Yep.
Oh,
3,
man.
2, 1. Have you put something?
Yeah.
Okay. Ready when you are.
Oh gosh.
July, May, October. You were close. It's actually November.
Bro.
November.
I did
But
that
I thought it was
with
really
my
November's
after
quite
summer.
congested. There's lots of things.
birthday.
So
I said, let me take guess.
anti-bullying month is November, but anti-bullying week is Monday the 13th to the 17th. Well, in 2024, it will be.
Okay.
That week is anti-bullying week.
Nice.
So number 4, what do people wear to stand up against bullying? So they wear an item. They wear it to work. They wear it to school. It's a national movement.
Okay.
So I'll say the question again. What do people wear
Okay.
to stand up against bullying?
Uh,
You can just guess. This one, I think. I know about it with my little one. I think in primary schools, it's quite
Is it? Oh,
it's quite like active.
Yeah.
You can take a guess.
It's the fact that Trish is just.
Is it like when
Pin.
you know?
Okay, the ribbon. Okay, oh, that's a t-shirt.
I was
colour.
even gonna say
That's
colour.
actually all very good suggestions. Sorry, say it for the audio. So say your
sorry.
answers.
A t-shirt.
a color.
A colour. I've got the little pins. I'm
a
thinking
pin.
it's like something you can wear.
Ribbon.
A ribbon. So the correct answer is actually odd socks.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So they wear
I
odd
knew
socks
that as well.
So that takes place.
I feel like
Yo, I never knew that
I feel
one.
like
That-
I've seen that.
I've learned that.
That takes place on the second Monday in November every year. The second Monday of every November is dedicated for Odd Socks Day.
Second Monday of every week.
Okay, this one's a bit meaty. Number 5, is cyberbullying a crime in the UK?
Oh.
So it's a bit political, this one. We ready to give our answers?
Already given it.
No.
I don't think it is. I think it's frowned upon.
It should be,
It
but
should be.
it's not.
No,
Oh.
it's
It's not. It's not.
Elijah,
I
yes.
think it is. Well, I don't know. I don't think it is.
Say your answers please,
Yes.
for audio. For audio
Okay.
purposes.
Yes.
remember.
No.
Yes.
Okay. There is no cyber bullying legislation. However, online harassment and stalking is illegal and is a crime within England and Wales. You can also commit a criminal offence under the following legislations.
Right.
So, protection from Harassment Act, 1997, Malicious Communications Act, 2023, Public Order Act, 1986, and Computer Misuse Act, 1997. So the answer to that is
Bit of both.
it's a bit of both.
The answer is no, but there's loopholes.
There's loopholes, but you might be committing an offense in one of these crimes.
Yeah.
So if you are bullying, like for instance, cyberbullying will come under the Computer Misuse Act. So under that act, you are committing an offense. So for those individuals who are experiencing bullying, please speak to somebody and get some professional advice, because there is help available and you could look into it. Because there's legislation there to protect you, and that person might be breaching the law and committing an offense.
So yes is right, yeah?
So yes.
Wait, no is right, because there's no... Not just statement, there is no legislation.
No, but it's
Okay,
still
okay,
the answer is it a
okay.
crime? If something is illegal,
It's a crime.
it's a crime. So yes.
So bullying
The original-
is illegal.
Yes.
Okay.
If it falls under those categories. Would you agree or not?
I agree.
Yeah?
I agree.
Okay. So
I'll let it go.
number 6. Which country has the biggest cyberbullying rates in the world in 2017?
Countries or
Countries. 3 countries.
2017.
3 countries.
3 countries. So the research in the study was done in 2017, but the statistic came out last year. So to simplify that question, name 3 countries that has the largest
sounds so bad.
cyberbullying in the world. Take a random guess as well, because
Ooh.
it's in different parts of the world.
Oh, is it?
What was that look for?
Because the way you looked at me was like, yeah, it can't
country
be
that-
done.
Did I look?
Has really
No,
high-
pick 3 countries. You'll be quite interested, actually. One is like, it's quite, but
First choice.
the other 2 is like,
I thought there would be 2 would be easy. The third one would be hard.
yeah,
The third one.
okay, are you ready? Do you have
I'm
your
ready.
countries?
I've been ready.
I'm not ready.
1 second.
yours out.
Dropping one out.
Yeah, I was thinking that one as well.
Okay.
You're not.
3-second countdown. 3, 2,
Trish is still deliberating.
1.
Let Trish
I
show
need
her
to do
board.
second option.
Okay. Elijah, since you're ready, you can go first.
England, USA, Canada.
Okay. Carl?
I've got USA, South Africa, and France.
Ooh. Rose?
Ooh.
I've got America, UK, and Russia.
Trish?
I've got USA, Nigeria,
She's got 5
as
countries.
France as my top 3. And then my other options were South Africa and UK.
Okay. Interestingly, A is India,
Oh.
B is Brazil,
Oh.
and C is United States. So whoever said
I
America-
knew United States had to be
Well,
there.
I've got
Well,
America.
yeah, we all knew you.
Yeah.
United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has to be
Well,
there.
so India and who?
India, Brazil, and United
Brazil.
States.
Brazil.
I wonder
Kind
why.
of makes sense.
Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have.
India I can understand,
India,
but Brazil,
yeah.
India, you're looking at colorism. Brazil, you're
is
looking at like
the
still
ge-
colorism
Yeah,
as well,
colorism and sometimes gender.
and gender equality.
yeah.
Oh, Brazil, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So when
And
you look at it, you're like,
Yeah, it does make
yeah.
sense. Yeah,
In
Yeah,
America,
but
America.
it's not like those. things-
America, there's a lot of bullying as well.
It's just
So
that
Yeah.
they've got
So,
a higher population.
yeah,
Mm.
and America again, bullying and stuff.
mhm.
So the last question: which country has the least cyberbullying in the world
Oh, Lord.
in
The
2000? The least,
Oh.
according to the 2017 study,
Okay, I'm gonna take a guess here.
Awesome.
Hold on.
What very
Is it one country? Yeah,
is one country. This one.
Okay.
Um,
Um,
I think I know.
can I give you a clue?
yeah.
Yes,
yeah, clear.
please.
Clue would be nice.
It's quite a wealthy country.
That's got.
It's not your typical wealth.
Is it cyberbullying? Did you say, or just?
Yes, cyberbullying online. So it's
Yeah.
online bullying.
Quite a wealthy country. You know what?
It is a wealthy country.
Okay, should we just give our answers? I want to get everything done with. I'm scared. My heart's pumping. I'm gonna start overthinking and I'll start writing lists.
Okay, to give you a point, if you get the continent, then you can get extra point. But I'm sure your countries have continent anyway, so 3-second
What the hell
countdown.
Never
What's
mind.
Okay, yeah, don't mind. Sorry, I had a moment there. Don't mind me.
You're trying to diversify the.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna have the
Three,
continent as well.
2,
I feel like I wrote
1. This one's a hard one, I must
Yeah.
say.
Is it?
Germany.
Germany.
I like Germans. Germans
Wealthy.
are
I
always
went to
quite
Sweden.
nice.
Oof.
Okay, I went to China first choice,
One answer.
What? Yeah, no,
Russia
what's
second
going on?
choice, and Asia as for continent.
This one's a hard
I
one.
should've
Oh,
put
you are very close.
I
You are very
Can I
close.
get a point,
Saudi
though?
Arabia.
Can I get a point because of
Saudi
being so
Arabia.
close?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Can I get a
That's
point
not-
because
Oh
of
my
being close though?
That's not.
I've
That's
got
not
Dubai.
necessarily a country though.
No, I said you're close, but yeah.
United.
So it's currently a tie. and we have to ask a question to crown our winner. The fight is between Roslyn and Elijah for the prize. What is the biggest country in Africa?
Have you said it into the camera comfortably?
Oh my God, I should know this.
We are number 2, Congo, but there's number 1.
Oh my God.
I knew it until the question was asked. Suddenly it's gone
Oh
blank.
my God.
What's the biggest?
Biggest country in
Yeah.
Africa. I can give you a clue. It's based in North Africa.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I know it's. I know it's definitely in North. It's right at the top.
Yeah, somewhere over there. Yeah.
Oh, it sounds like. Should we say it sounds like?
Wait, they ain't got their answers yet. Have you
I'm
locked
trying
it
to give
in?
him clues.
And this is
It
the
sounds
one
like.
wrong,
Yeah, I know.
It sounds.
I know.
Hold on, I tried to make it easy because we need to crown a winner.
I can't spell
It
it. Though. Can I
sounds
say
like-
it,
Don't
please?
matter. As
I
long as
said
it's
it
right.
sounds
Can I just
like
say
it's
it?
not.
Okay. Can I say
You
it?
just shout it out.
Can I say it,
Yeah,
please?
just say it out. Just say it out.
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Algeria.
Oh my God.
Oh, you made America's Got Talent.
Come on, you got this. You guys have got this.
Can I say it? Salmon cow.
Do you know that as well?
Why are you writing stuff that?
America's Got Talent.
Pirate
Salmon
Bay.
cow.
Oh, I won. We got
It's so funny. Every question I even
You
told
got that?
her
You didn't get
that she's gonna get it because every question that you asked,
yeah.
I wrote it down.
Yeah, he knows.
I wrote it down, and then I was like,
all
you know, I give up
You
because
mean first.
You're invalidating his feelings.
I'm just glad no one gave me my trophy like that. You're claiming you gave her hers. I'm glad I
Your man-
fought for it, not knowing.
man, I was fighting for every
Thank
question.
you,
I wrote
Mummy.
down everything.
Right.
Thank you, God.
You know, I just like to say
Right.
last episode, I build people.
You build.
Okay,
You're a
boss.
leader.
I don't save.
Oh, okay, boss.
Okay.
Shade, shade.
We appreciate that.
I need to get my iron.
Rose is standing there in her glory.
Another
As winner.
shade, thank you.
Looking like
I'm
a
collecting
So,
I'm collecting those stones you're throwing at me,
okay.
yeah?
That's all we have time for today. We've come to the end of our episode. I've hoped you've enjoyed and you've learned a bit more about bullying. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Asking me, Vanessa, when's the next one? When's the next one? When's the next one? I'm like, we're meant to do more. Okay, let's do it. So then that turned into event after event after event. We did music and mental health events. We did theatre productions based on mental health. We did dance and mental health. So